Hello, you guys, and welcome to the DMS podcast. I'm the Daily Dino. I'm being joined by Mike's Gaming Room and Slywise Studios.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
So, overly long tutorials. What do you guys think on this?
I think it sucks. I think that's the whole point of the title you said there. Overly long.
Overly long, exactly.
Yeah.
Really, for me, the tutorial depends on the game itself. Take, for instance, like WildStar. It's a game going free to play September 29th, and there are three choices that you get. You get absolutely brand new to MMOs, have no idea what's going on. You know the controls of basic MMOs, or you can completely skip the tutorial no matter what. I'd like that in that circumstance, but then you'll have something like, let's say, I can't even think of one off the top of my head now. Say Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1 didn't really have too much of a tutorial, but since they changed mechanics in Mass Effect 2, they gave you a very small, simple stage. They introduced lore. They also introduced the new mechanics in a very easy way that had nothing to do with the game, but they introduced two of the main characters, which I really liked.
Yeah. That sounds nice.
That's a pretty good example. One thing I was going to talk about is, how you were saying how you can skip the tutorial in WildStar. I think that should be something in almost every tutorial, because I can't stand it when you play a game and the tutorial is overly long and it's completely unskippable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like in how you were talking about Mass Effect 2, they have a tutorial because they changed mechanics. But in certain games that have where there's sequels, but they still have the tutorials that show the exact same thing, and those become unskippable. It's just
That, and it kills the replay value of that game because you don't need to go back through that tutorial because the player already knows how to play the game. When a company or a publisher goes to the consumer and says, "This is how you play the game, and this is how you play the game. Remember, this is how you play the game." Every time you restart the game, it's almost as if they don't want you to play the game more than one time.
Yeah, exactly. There was I recently started playing again the Assassin's Creed series, and anyone who's played those, they all play exactly the same way. But yet every single one has this huge freaking tutorial in it. And what was that? I think it was Assassin's Creed 3. It has like a 25 to 30 minute tutorial before it actually stops holding your hand.
Yeah.
And I was it was brutal to try to play through.
And they weave the tutorial into the story
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What I like about tutorials is when a developer puts the tutorial as part of the game itself, where they teach you how. And this is like Mega Man, for instance. You'll have levels that will teach you what to do in that level, and then they will continue to build on it as you go through that level. And then when you have to replay, those levels to get to Dr. Wily in the second part of the game, they reintroduce those. And if you don't remember how to play through them, then you're going to fail. Then you have to relearn it. And it's not like force-fed tutorials. So during gameplay learning, go ahead.
They do that for the Arkham games as well. And it's just like you don't even know you're in a tutorial because it's done so well. You're kind of like learning, but you're playing at the same time. It's like seamless, basically, which is the best way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's not that they're not skippable, but you don't even realize you're in one, which is awesome.
And that's a very, very good way to implement the tutorials, is where they're completely a part of the story and you don't exactly realize that you're in one, but you are.
The Assassin's Creed series, it's great. It's amazing, but there are a lot of like small glitches that are just like, oh, I cannot believe this freaking, and then you do have to restart. And the same thing happens with Skyrim. I've had to restart Skyrim I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
But the glitchiest game I've ever played on my end, and I'm not even sure it was just my disc or what, or I have no idea. But basically, it was Dark Cloud for the PS2. It just I could not get anywhere in that freaking game without crashing.
Yeah, I actually had a pretty decent copy of that game. I was able to play about 2 hours of it before I started falling through the map. Yeah, I would just like run, fall through the map, monsters would become invulnerable, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And consoles are really notorious for that because you can't fix them on the player side. It has to be done through a patch.
Yeah.
But um, I think I like Bethesda's way of doing it the best because they give you the console that you can just teleport yourself somewhere, move something. If you're stuck in a wall, you can turn on no clip. They give the players the commands to do what they need to get out of those glitches that came through QA. Because let's take, for instance, the Batman game. You know,
Yeah, let's
it's
talk. Let's talk about that disappointment.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's no console command for PC, so people are manipulating or have manipulated the INI file to try and boost performance. Whereas if you had something like that with a Bethesda game, all you would have to do is go see if somebody else had the same problem, install a mod, boom, you're done. Or open up the console command and go, well, I need this to spawn here. Poof, there it is.
and I love how Bethesda has done that for its PC players, because I playing Skyrim on the 360, they had a patch that, well, my God, it was when they changed how they do their save systems, and it completely broke every save I had, and you can't revert back patches on consoles really.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That happened to me too.
I had the
Yep.
PlayStation version of Skyrim when it first came out, and that was when the saves grew exponentially in size.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I couldn't play the game anymore because there was the one save ended up taking up the whole of the hard drive.
Jeez, yeah, I remember
yeah,
that.
I had to be like, well, done with this game.
Yeah, I can't
And-
play it.
Yeah, so it got pushed to PC. They're pushing into the PC realm of gaming, so that they can have community assistance like script extenders and graphic installers and that sort of thing. And I think they only released it for the console simply because why not?
Exactly.
So let's get back to that Batman game because I spent money on that.
Oh God, you
Yeah.
actually bought that?
Yeah, I bought it.
Oh, man,
'Cause
I feel
was
so
like,
bad for you.
Yeah, I bought it before because I was like, man, you know what? They've really earned my trust.
Yeah,
Rocksteady has.
that's
And,
how they got everyone. They earned their trust with 3 really great Batman games, and then they completely fucked over their PC players in the
I
fourth.
felt like an absolute knob when I turned that on, and I was getting 9 frames.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my freaking, are you serious right now?
I have a buddy who is running a XLI of was it 2 Titan X's, and he can
Yeah.
barely even run the game. Like he can't even get past the title screen.
There
What is up
was
with that?
there was just a patch recently for the game that supposedly has helped, but not as much as you would like.
When is it
Yeah.
supposed to be to console standard?
It was supposed to be on release, and I don't think they ever realized the idea behind it because it was. I bought those games for console and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
on
oh,
console
cool,
they're
PC
perfect.
game. Yeah, I was like, oh, cool, a PC game. Let me wait for the reviews. Oh, okay, maybe not. So I don't think they realized because most ways developers will do things. Is it'll be a PC release, then they can remove PC settings and then give them to the developer, give them to publishers for console. Whereas they went the opposite way. They gave them to consoles and then tried to make the PC port with the hard settings for consoles, and it's not the same architecture for PC at all, and that's I think where they failed.
Well,
I was
see,
reading that they sent the game off to a different
yeah,
company.
they didn't even do the porting themselves. They sent it off to a third party to do it for them, and
and they only had like
yeah,
a week or something.
They didn't vet the company, and then but besides that, there was actually a leak that like a month or 2 months before release, there was a memo that they had, that listed all these really big game-breaking glitches and problems with the game, and they basically acknowledged that they were there and shipped it off anyway. So that was the main backlash that they got from a lot of hatred, is that they knew that these problems were there, and they still packaged the game and shipped it out.
That's awful, man. That's
Yeah,
horrible.
That's
They completely knew that it was unplayable, and they were just like, you know what, fuck it. They got 3 great games from us. They're gonna buy it anyway, just based off, you know what Sly did, blind trust.
Yeah.
and we'll get them for that. And it worked for the most part. It worked.
Yeah, they play on people's greeds, and because the gaming community is still not quote unquote mainstream, they're just gonna say, okay, there you go. They're gonna spend money. We're gonna make some money. That's cool. Let's try to use this to do something else for mainstream.
I mean, is it still not available on Steam? I haven't checked in a while.
I don't know.
think it is.
Let
Yeah.
me check. Let me check because Jesus Christ, I still have my copy downloaded because I didn't want to touch it. I was like, I don't want to even have anything to do with you right now.
Yeah, it's just. I've heard the game is actually fantastic. If you can get it to play, it's fantastic. But
Yeah, my buddy got
Just
got
their,
it with his PS4. He bought the PS4 edition of it, and he says it's amazing. And I walked over there and played it, and it is absolutely amazing. But it's just so sad that this happened to a lot of
yeah,
people.
that they completely abandoned their PC standpoint, which I mean, it's happening a lot nowadays too. Like obviously everyone's heard of Destiny. That game was originally going to be on PC as well, completely abandoned.
Wow.
I agree completely. If it would have been out for PC, there would have been so much more of a backlash than there was. Just because it was on console, because it was incredibly not finished at all.
Yeah, that too.
Microtransactions suck, dude. I hate them. There's no point. There's just no point.
Well,
unless it's something really, really good.
Yeah,
That like the game didn't have previously that could like greatly improve the game. But if you're asking me, like the freaking like Android apps and stuff, like the games, like they say they're free, and then what?
No,
You know,
yeah.
like they force moms, like naive moms and little children, to keep buying 99 cents worth of extra crap, and then they end up paying $60 for a flipping phone game.
I've fallen victim to that myself. There was
Now
one.
that is the bad side to it. There are good sides to it if you come from specific MMOs. For example, again, I'm going to use WildStar's beta as an example. It's purely cosmetic, where it doesn't change the game at all. You change the way you look, and that's it. Your housing can change, so it looks neater. You have a mount which you can actually get through gameplay as well. But if you reverse that and go to a game, say, called, I believe it's Runes of Magic, as well as MapleStory,
Those are horrible.
yeah, it becomes pay to win rather than free to play. And
Right.
with pay to win, you buy equipment to make your character that much better than everybody else. And that's where a lot of people fall flat on those games, because it's like, whoa, hold on, I have to pay for what now? Whereas with even say Warcraft, you can buy booster to boost your character up to 60, which is fine. You know, boost your character up to 90, sure, because otherwise you're going to play it for the umpteenth time again on your 12th character on stuff you've already seen.
Right.
So drop a couple bucks for it, that's fine. Most of those companies are not very transparent on what they do with that money. I'm going to use Blizzard as an example. There are times where Blizzard will put out a special and they will give money to a charity. Like when the Haiti thing happened, they put out a mount, and all of the money used for that mount, and I believe for a few other of the services, specifically went to charity funds for disaster relief.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was really nice of them. And it's not the first time. It's not the only time they've actually done that. They've done it quite a few times.
Yeah, and that's what that's what like Sly was talking about with mobile games. You have the absolute slime and villainy of the planet, preying on children and wives and uneducated people, going, it's only 50 cents for 3 more lives. Pay another quarter, we'll give you 7 more.
And you do that
then
48 more times, and then you're like,
Right.
what the heck?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm broke. Shit.
What happened? But then you'll have other companies who are like, this is what it does, this is what you need, but it doesn't change the game at all. And that's it.
See, I didn't know that WildStar had a completely cosmetic system. That's pretty nice. I do like knowing that. So that will be, you said, what was that, September 29th? That one goes
September
free to play?
29th, it is free to play. I'm currently in the closed beta.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to be checking that one out then. Touching back on things like MapleStory, the way they do theirs is there are items like weapons and armor in the shop that you can buy with real money that are not available at all in the game itself. And the items are a lot stronger than anything you can find actually in the game.
What the heck?
So it's like
That's
if you want to go into that something like that and do PvP, there's almost no way you can hold your own without spending money, which is completely ridiculous.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, really?
Now, another game that really does it well is Guild Wars 2.
Yes. Yeah, they do a pretty good job of it too.
What I like is you can trade in-game currency for their gem system and then use the gems to buy you whatever you want, whether it's, designer clothes, which they do a lot of costumes, backpacks and skins and that sort of stuff, but you don't actually have to spend a single penny to use their microtransaction system, which I think is really neat because they're also going free to play here soon for the core game.
Okay, I didn't know that they're doing their core game will no longer be buy to play once and free to play forever. It's just straight up.
It's straight up free to play. If you want the expansion, then you can pay for the expansion.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's pretty nice. But yeah, I do love the system that Guild Wars 2 has, being able to buy anything off their anything off their store without actually having to spend any money. Because gold is a dime a dozen in that game. It's pretty easy to come across, and the rates are pretty good for transferring it over.
Yeah, I agree. What I like about it is they keep a very close eye on that economy, so that should there be a bug, they go squash it and ban the people forever who exploited the bug. An example of that would have been Neverwinter Online. That happened where you could sell something on the auction house, log into an alt, buy it on the auction house for 1 Astral Diamond less than what it was, put it on the Zen Market, take it off the Zen Market, put it back onto the trading post, and then you've just doubled your Astral Diamonds because you go buy it again, send the Astral Diamonds to yourself, and you just doubled the amount because of a bug in the game. And they never did anything to them, so now people have billions of Astral Diamonds to change over to Zen, which is their in-game or their microtransaction currency over all of their games.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They use the same thing over all of them, so.
Yep, and that's the perfect world setup.
Okay, now let's talk about it's no longer in their game, but the original Diablo 3 auction house, where you could put items on the auction house for actual money.
That's awesome.
Not necessarily.
I would love to make tons of money doing that.
It would be amazing and awesome. It would be that much better, except when in about 30 seconds, I can create a bot to farm all of what I need. Then I could go to Burger King, come back, spend $3, and make $300 in 30 seconds, whereas a human would not. Seriously, it's what people were doing.
Yeah, it's why it's no longer in their game. People abused the hell out of it.
People were making thousands of dollars a month off of the real money auction house because they created bots that were able to be quicker, faster, and react to server ping times faster than any human could.
Yeah, so it was like, on paper, it was like, oh, that's a pretty interesting idea. And then it was like 2 weeks after launch, it was completely fucking broken.
A horrible failure.
Yeah, it was complete failure from start.
I am so tired of this crap. And there could be all kinds of, well, if you get this thing, then that can make it. No, that would not make it better. You put it in the flipping original game to begin with, or don't do it at all. Don't tease me and make me, like the freaking, that's just about the same as like doing the flipping, if you order from GameStop, then you get this. If you order from Best Buy, you get this. But if you order from Walmart, you get that. Like, stop adding extra crap afterwards, after you've already made the game. And I know you do it while you're during the game. Don't look at me like you didn't, because I know you did. And then you charge me extra money. Like a freaking... I'm not stupid. Stop doing it. It's freaking aggravating. And then people pay for it. They're, I've got to get it from them because they have a day one... And then they put it... Okay, like first on the list here, day one patches. Like, why even let the game out? Why even? Like, put it through a good amount of beta testers. But if it's like game breaking, then what are you doing? I'm just so flustered right now.
Well, okay,
Go ahead.
I agree.
The day one patches on consoles, I'm not too sure, but there is a reason why some people have been doing it on PC, and they do the day one patches as sort of their way to try to deterrent torrenters. I know there was stuff like Far Cry 4 where if you torrented the game and you didn't get that day one patch, then an hour into the game it would turn your character into a bird, and you just couldn't do shit. But if you actually legit bought the game, you got the day one patch which took that piece of code out. So there's things like that which I do understand. I'm fine with that. But there's other things like, I'm gonna open a can of worms right here, and we're gonna talk about the Mass Effect 3 day one shit that happened.
Yes.
There's stuff like that where it's like the DLC was completely finished months before release. There's absolutely no reason why that couldn't have just been in the original package that we shell out $60 to $80 for, depending on what version you bought. And stuff like that is completely ridiculous. And I mean, Mass Effect 3 had so many other problems, like their ending and crap, but it's the day one DLC that gets me the most. It's like that content was finished. There's no reason it couldn't have been included already.
I'm going to bring up a game that hasn't come out yet. It's available to 2316, maybe, depending on how many people pre-purchase it. I won't even tell you guys the name of the game, and I want you guys to react to the way it is set up. You can enhance your order, and you can change your loadout of the game. Okay? In the tier 1, okay, it's done in a tier system. So in tier 1, there are so many people who have ordered the game. You can get one of 3 different suits that somewhat change your loadout in the beginning of the game. Okay. Tier 2. Okay. Now, when you get to tier 2, you get some little extra stuff like on your iPhone or whatever. Tier 3.
How do you progress tiers?
More people have to buy it.
So really, you're not able to do anything at all. You just have to rely on other people.
Right. You essentially then become marketing for this company.
For the game.
Right. So in the tier 3 prize, and basically it's a prize, you get an extra in-game mission. Now, think about that. It's already there. They even say extra in-game mission. They don't tell you how long it is. It could be a 30-second mission. It could be a 3-hour mission. Okay, cool. Tier 4, you get some extra stuff on your iPhone, iPad, tablet, whatever. Tier 5, 4-day early release. So the game will already be done. If enough people pre-order it, they're going to release it early. Now here's the thing. You can only get so many of those. You don't get all 5.
That is pretty scummy. It seems like just make the whole game and then put it out on the day that you say you're going to put it out. Stop trying to... oh my God. That does not seem right to me at all.
Now remember, wherever you get it, you get different ones. You'll get different pre-order bonuses as well.
That's ridiculous.
This is and I loved this game series all the way up until this. I'm never going to play... I'm not going to say I'm never going to play it, because what's going to happen is the pirates are going to get together. They're going to bundle this all up into an ISO. They're going to toss it up on a torrent site, and everybody will have everything.
Yep.
Because it's pushing pirating, is what it is. It's for the new Deus Ex Mankind Divided game.
Oh my God,
Wow.
that's what they're doing for it? Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh, I was so excited for that, and that just completely broke my heart.
It's It's a pretty scummy way to do so.
Wow,
Here's something else that will make digital purchases come to a new light. So you have, Metal Gear 5, Phantom Pain Returns, Leg Off, whatever, Ghost Recon, whatever the game's called. I'm not a huge fan of the Metal Gear series. The installer on the disc is 8.75 megs. It is the Steam installer. That's all that's on the disc.
that's it.
That's it.
What?
What?
So you
What's
have
the point of that?
So people will buy it and then they have to install it, which means they're going to be forced to be online while it installs, and then they can get whatever patches are going to be in the game because they have to be online to play it.
You have to be online to play that game.
Yep, there's a lot of games like that. It started with StarCraft 2 back in the day.
I know SimCity, like the latest SimCity or whatever, did that. People hated it.
Yeah.
Yep. and they marketed it so well that I was like, oh, cool, I can make my own city, and then I'll have a neighbor who is somebody else playing the game. The problem with that is the game world was about as big as a city block.
Yeah, I've seen it played. It's not as big as the earlier one. There used to be like the earlier SimCities were flipping huge.
Yeah, they were pretty big.
And this looks like minuscule in comparison.
But yeah, that's my problem with like day one DLCs and that sort of thing. Now, flipping that on its head, there are games and companies out there that will do it really well. And what I mean by really well is leading up to the release of that game, there will be events that you can take part of in the game that go all the way up to release. And the very best way I can explain that is World of Warcraft. For it, from vanilla on up, they've had at least 2 weeks to about 4 months worth of events that happen in game while you play, leading up to that expansion or release to get you into that part of the phase of the game. So, for example, on release, very part of, in vanilla, when I was in part of beta, the main cities were attacked. Everything was peaceful. Beta was cool. People were just trying it out, and then all hell broke loose. Both Stormwind and Orgrimmar were attacked. Sure, it was in a really funny way. There was a GM standing, at the city gates, sending out death chickens at people. But It was still fun because it brought everyone together, saying, "This is our game. We're releasing it. This is a good thing." When Burning Crusade came out, if you were standing at the portal about 2 weeks before, you got to watch the portal actually open and demons come out and start storming through the zone and actually get to be a part of that whole thing. And they would set up events, so on and so forth, trying to take out the demons. You'd push them back, and then you went through the portal as the beginning of that expansion.
So that's adding stuff in to get you ready for what is basically day one.
Yeah.
Of that expansion, exactly.
As opposed to taking stuff out so that you have to buy more stuff or order from a specific person in order to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I really like about MMOs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really only MMOs can do that, except Hitman, the newest Hitman, is attempting to do the same thing. The problem is you have to buy the game first, and you have to I think you have to follow their Twitter to get the briefcase to know where the target is so that you can go then do that small little event. And that's it. That's all you can do.
Okay. That's kind of an odd way to go about it, but I guess I guess I would have to see how it works.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything good or bad about it, but it is an idea of how to do so in a single-player environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of like that. I mean, it sounds interesting. It can be...
It can be done really well or really poorly.
Yeah, it just depends. Yeah. It can go either way. There, touching on what you were talking about earlier with fucking Deus Ex, holy crap.
Yes.
There are other games who use that style of trying. What they're trying to do is they're trying to build hype for their game, saying if more people buy this, then we get more and more of these tiers unlocked to give to you guys. Deus Ex, that's a really shitty ass example. Like that just sounds horrible.
Total Biscuit did a really good review and video on it, so I would suggest everybody go and check out that video.
Yeah.
He explains it very, very well on how poor it is for the consumer.
There is another game. It's an indie title for like a student project. The name is escaping me. I showed you this one a couple of weeks ago, Mike. Where they're doing a different thing to hype their game.
The Flock.
Yeah, the Flock. That's what it was called. Where their game has a population to it, and for every person who buys a copy of the game, a life gets taken away from the population. And while people play it, for every time a player in the game will die, another life ticks away. When the population's life reaches 0, the game will no longer be available for purchase ever again. So it's sort of like they're sort of using that to try to say, hurry up and buy into the game real quick. And then they're going to be having some pretty big in-game events. And then at the end of the year, they're going to have a giant battle climax type thing. And after that happens, the game will no longer be available to be played ever again. The servers and everything will be completely turned off.
I think that's a horrible, horrible, disgusting idea.
Here's the thing about that is I don't think of that kind of action as really a game. To me, that's kind of like an odd piece of art. They shouldn't charge for it. That should be free, and only a certain number of people could get in. And I think that would be kind of a cool, kind of artistic type thing because it's a once in a lifetime thing that only a certain
Yeah.
number of people are going to get to experience. But if you make me pay for it, and then not everybody, and then eventually it ends, like I can never play it again, like that's awful. But it sounds like some sort of artistic exhibit type thing. Like, check this out for only a limited time.
Yeah, like I thought the idea of it was really nice, and then I saw that they charge 16.99 for a copy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a game. You were to buy the game to, experience the content, and then later on down the line to replay that content over and over and over again. I'm not going to pay 16.99 to go. I walked 3 seconds. If there's PvP, there's a spawn camper. Oops, I'm dead. I just paid $17 to die. Oh, there's a bug that killed me. I can't do anything about that. I'm dead. I just wasted $17. Now I'm screwed.
Well, no, no, no. I think you're misunderstanding. You're not. If you die in the game, you don't. It doesn't make it so you can never play again. What I was talking about with the population is outside the game. When you're playing the game, it's a regular game. It's not like permadeath or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh, okay. Okay, that
what
makes sense.
yeah, what they're
I still
doing.
think it's a horrible idea.
Yeah, and for being charged is really bad. If it was free, I would be all over this. But what they're doing is like they're basically keeping a tally that counts down every time someone dies in the game, and then when that reaches 0, the game will be taken off the market.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
What they're
That's still awful.
yeah,
though.
like I was doing a little email discussion with the developer, and what he was talking about is that the problem with a lot of indie games or certain games, and I'm gonna use Evolve as an example here, is they rely completely on a player service where they have to have online players or their game is dead. And even Evolve right now is, I mean, they're trying to relaunch Evolve because the servers are basically dead, at least on PC side. And so what this was the sort of their concept or idea to combat that. Instead of having the game eventually die out anyway, they're going to have a population which will limit the number of copies, and then just a huge climax, and the game is just completely gone forever. Just sort of leave a lasting remark instead of just, oh, that's a dead game that no one, I can't play because no one plays it online anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like that sounds more like an artistic thing to do.
Yeah.
Like an experience to bring everybody in to say, hey, like to kind of raise awareness for those types of issues. But if you're charging for it, that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that makes no sense. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that.
I'm on that boat too. If it was free, then I think it'd be a wonderful idea. But charging nearly $20 for it, and
I'll
That's
take off
basically
on
the
it.
same way I feel. So let Mike go because he's ready to bust.
I'm
take it away, Mike.
Okay, so this is generally where we have a little bit of an open discussion. I want to talk about the Jimmy Kimmel Live bit that he did with Jonah May and Markiplier. I think it is absolutely unprofessional and frankly fucking infuriating that mainstream TV accepts the idea that you can ask someone, well, do you sleep with any of your groupies? And finds that okay in a primetime show. In that bit,
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel directed a question towards Markiplier, somebody who just yesterday made 70 grand in less than 12 hours and donated it to the Bipolar and Depression Association, and looked at him in his eyes and said, well, have you slept with any of your groupies? And that got onto mainstream TV.
Yeah, that was something that did. That was one of the few things that I was really, really off put by. I was like, did he really just ask that to someone like him?
How, and that's the thing. They don't understand because mainstream TV is dying.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy Kimmel specifically believes that watching somebody play video games is a waste of time. And watching someone play video games, like he said, like in an arcade, it sort of is. But YouTube Let's Plays have evolved beyond just watching somebody play video games. You are you are there to be entertained by the persona that is playing those video games. Take PewDiePie, for instance. PewDiePie is a character that Felix is playing.
You have PewDiePie, who he puts on his own little persona for it. You got Boogeyman with the Francis, and it's not just about watching someone play. It's watching, it's like watching a character play the game, play another character.
But going back to Felix, he doesn't do charity drives because the money that he makes now from YouTube, almost all of it, I would say, I believe he last time he mentioned it, 95% of it went to charities. He only keeps enough to pay bills, get food, make sure Maritza is okay, feed Edgar, and that's it. The rest of the money goes towards charity.
And that's something that a lot of people who give him hate specifically don't exactly see or know that that's something that he does. Is everything he makes from his channel, he only keeps enough to get by, and then the rest of it he donates, which is a massive amount for him.
And the same thing with, like, say, Jacksepticeye. He doesn't do charity because he is an entertainer. He is this entertaining persona who's a very shy person. So, and if you go watch if you go watch the Markiplier and Friends panel, you'll see just how shy he is because he takes a step back because he was invited, but he wasn't really supposed to be there according to the, con. But Markiplier brought him up anyways, and you can see just how shy he is. It's the idea that we as YouTube like indulgers of the content, we go there to be entertained and to connect with that persona because on that platform you have the ability to directly message that person. You get to say something in the comments, whether it's a flame or not. You still have the ability to directly message that person in a public forum or a private forum. Whereas, let's take Jimmy Kimmel, you can't. You can't just be like, well, you suck. There's no real way to do that other than like on his YouTube channel, and he doesn't pay attention to his YouTube channel. He doesn't care.
Or on his Twitter, and
right, it's probably done by a team.
Yeah, it's not him; it's a team. That's a big difference.
Right, and again, he is just talent for that show. Whereas you have Markiplier, Miss May, Jack, PewDiePie, they are pre-production audio, post-production. They are the whole package. Sure, Markiplier just got an editor now so that he can then share the load of editing with someone, but he still does his own editing, his own thumbnails. They put a lot of work and love into what they have created because they want to change the world, and they are changing the world. So watching someone play games online is a waste of time is an absolute insult to every single gaming content creator on YouTube, period.
Because it's taking all the good that has come from it over the last couple of years and just saying that's all been a waste of time. It's not important at all.
Right. And let's take Mark, for example, again. Yesterday he made 70 grand for the association that he donated all of that money to. Give me a moment here. I'm going to get the exact amount. He has now raised $628,670.14 for charity before the 70 grand has been added on there in his 5 years of doing YouTube.
Yeah, and that is an insane amount. Of money. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it is. And that is gone to, multiple different ones. He has created a brand called Markiplier Heroes that has a deal now with iPod to make iPods that say Markiplier Heroes on it, and is the color red that they used for that core group of people that he just gave away during his charity live stream. And he is live. And he did it for 11 hours. You don't see mainstream TV get in front of a camera for 11 hours to raise money for charity.
Mm-hmm. And see, on that aspect, I completely agree with you. it was insulting in the fact that like all of this time, all that effort that him specifically that he's thrown into it, the incredible amount of money that he's donated for charities and that he's raised for them, and to say all of that it was completely not worth it, and all that it's possible because people will sit down and watch someone else play the game. Something as simple as that concept that he completely trashed can lead to just so much more, and I think that's what he isn't understanding on the concept of it.
And going back to another point, to look someone in the eyes and say, well, do you sleep with any of your groupies? That I find that to be absolutely insulting to the over 9 million people that have subscribed to him.
Mm-hmm.
That watch his videos every single day, to look at the man who's created that and go, well, that's cool. Did you fuck any of them?
Yeah, literally, in a nutshell, that's what he did. Just straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, and then at the very end of that bit, you can just see how disappointed Markiplier is, because he knows editing, because he's done it for multiple years, how that's going to look on TV.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed is if you look at Markiplier's face during that hug and afterwards where they break away, he has just the sheer disappointment on his face. That like he knows that just like, oh, fuck.
This isn't going to be, this is just another trash of mainstream TV. Now, Miss May brought her on because she's going to be the female shown, because you got to have a quality mainstream TV. And they didn't show her doing anything. They showed her family being terrified by doing the Oculus Rifts. Like it was a roller coaster, and that's cool to watch. That's neat, but that connection isn't there. He tried to play some Rocket League and he has no idea what he's doing, and people will laugh at him. And that's fine. But you don't have that. And this is going to sound weird, but that intimate connection you would have watching a person on YouTube make content for you to watch.
Yep, I completely understand that.
So what's your standpoint on this, Sly? You were a little quiet there earlier, but
I was really considering Mike's point of view, and I'm still at a point where it's just like it doesn't really, the part that really makes me kind of mad and sad at the same time is that we do put a whole lot of effort into this stuff. It's not just like done easily. It takes up a whole lot of our time, and it's like sometimes it's just like mentally exhausting, and we put so much love into this stuff, and the fact that he just dismissed it is just it's just sad. And the saddest thing is a lot of people watch Jimmy Kimmel, and they're gonna take his word and they're gonna like spread that around, like, oh yeah, no, that way, like when anybody else talks about the gaming, like YouTube gaming or whatever, then people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, no, I know, like Jimmy Kimmel's talking about that too. I think it's just stupid. That makes no sense. And that idea is gonna spread that this is a complete waste of time and it's stupid. And I love doing it, and I know you guys love doing it, and I love, like interacting with the people in the comments. That's flipping amazing. I think that's so great. And I wouldn't want to do anything else as a hobby. And I don't understand how he could be so rude about that. But at the same time, he's a comedian. He makes jokes about everything. But that said, you could tell in Jimmy Kimmel's face that wasn't a joke. He was being completely serious when he was saying that. So the people in the comments that are saying, oh, he's a comedian, he's going to make jokes about everything. Yeah, that's true. But when he says it with a completely straight face, he's not joking. Like, you can tell it's actually what he believed, that this is a complete waste of time. And then he used this stupid football excuse thing to where he watches football, and that's not the same as people watching play video games, which is a complete lie. That's basically the exact same thing. You're watching somebody play a game, I'm watching somebody play a game. It's just two different games, okay? And I just that part I don't understand.
I can delve into that a little bit more, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Football is a professional sport in which you're never going to be able to associate with any of the players, refs, or coaches, or anything like that. Esports, take League of Legends or Dota 2. League of Legends first. You're never going to be able to really communicate with them. Oh, wait, yes, you can. They all have Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts. And you can go to Reddit, and you can message them directly. And 9 times out of 10, they reply. They do AMAs on those subreddits. You'll never find that for anybody. Let's say like Jimmy Kimmel does an AMA. He's going to have a team that replies to it, not the actual person. Whereas with Dota 2, Dota 2 has a lot more interaction with its player base and its fans because the Grand Cup, at the very end of their season of professional play, the money that is made by those players has been donated by the player base. Now think about that. They are donating to the game and those players to be able to live. The best players in the world will be able to live because the player base and the fans let them. Whereas League of Legends doesn't do that because they're pretty big. Markiplier and YouTube gamers, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, they get money from their MCNs or Google or whatever, but they still have that connection with people. Football players don't. It's a professional scene of gaming versus a professional person who games. And taking that persona of Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, whatever, and then using that to better a cause is so much better than I believe, say, what Jimmy Kimmel was trying to do, of trying to express what he thinks or possibly what his network thinks of YouTube gaming.
Dino, your thoughts?
That's that's pretty much it. My only ending statement would be, it's not just that he dismissed it. It's not just that he insulted it in saying that it's a waste of time. The big thing for me is that he compared all of it, like all of the work, all the time, and all the effort that we go through recording, go through editing a lot, and advertising it out there, getting ourselves out there. He took all of that, everything a Markiplier does, and he compared it to standing behind his friend at a 7-Eleven watching him play Pac-Man. And
I know how you guys do.
Yeah, like right? It's like that's what hit me the most, is like he compared it to something so small and simplistic when the actual core concept of it is so much more than that.
Yeah.
In playing the game is what you do the least, at least for me, for creating content. I play the game for 10 minutes, then I'll edit for an hour for video, then I edit for another 15 minutes for audio, and then it takes me like 2 or 3 hours to make a thumbnail that I'm not happy with, that I go ahead and delete, and then I make another one, then I'm going to go back to editing, so that I can go re-edit the thing, make sure it all syncs up, and it takes, one video can take up to 4 hours to make. When I was doing 2 videos a day, it was taking anywhere from 8 to 10 hours to make.
Yeah, like the actual playing the game part it's the shortest and quickest part of the entire ensemble.
That, and then when you do have comments, speaking with those people in the comments, that's also another part of making a video to watch YouTube gaming, is connecting with those people who really care. And it's really weird, I'm a very, very, very small channel. I get people commenting all the freaking time on stuff. And it's awesome because I've made connections.
Yeah, you sort of have that small little community that you're starting to build up, and it's keeping up with that and making sure you keep the communication there, because that's another huge part of it, is that separates us from like what you said, professional sports, is that communication to the people who actually watch us and help us do what we do.
Yeah.
And you just nailed it. They help us do what we do.
Yeah. It's not just us. It's every single person who watches. It's not just Markiplier who raised $70,000 or $70,000.
$70,000 in less than 12 hours.
It's not just him. It's like the 8.5 million subscribers who probably at one point almost all of them tuned in to watch that.
9.2 million.
9.2
subscribers.
Damn, he's up there.
With his average, I watched the whole thing. His average views on that stream was over 30,000 people.
Yeah, that's just
watching him.
Yeah, it's not just the one person. It's absolutely everyone who watches, who tunes into it. That they all contribute to that. Before we break this off, though, I wanted to talk about a few things recently that happened for PC gaming wise in the last 2 weeks. One of the biggest ones for me was Cliff Bleszinski, the creator of Gears of War, has officially announced a game for his free-to-play shooter that's going to be coming out later. It's going to be called Lawbreakers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
so if you
awesome.
guys, yeah, it's gonna be called Lawbreakers now. So go ahead and check that one out because he's been doing a lot of stuff to it. I know he had a Q&A stream that he did on Twitch, where he was sat there for like 2 to 3 hours just talking to people and just answering a bunch of questions for him. And that game looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Lawbreakers. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, Lawbreakers. Another one for people who do play Call of Duty. The new Black Ops 3. There was a rumored leak that there was a file called Nuketown, with the E in Nuke being replaced by a 3. Since then, the rumor has been the reference to it has been removed almost 2 hours after it was discovered. So, for people who do like Nuketown, it's a possibility that you can get that map in the new Black Ops 3 when that comes out later this year in November, most likely.
Yeah, they do that all the time. Like I think they do that stuff on purpose.
I think so.
They do that
Yeah.
on purpose. They drop it in and then they take it out immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they leak it and they're
Great
like,
hype.
oh shit, let me take that away real quick.
Yeah.
And another one, just because it is a recent release, Rocket League this week hit 1 million units on Steam, and about approximately 5 million units across all platforms since its release, I think in July.
That is amazing.
Which
That's
is-
incredible for that game.
Yeah.
Especially since there weren't any commercials for it or anything.
Yeah, there was nothing
You know?
for it, and it's
There was
complete.
and it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten so huge.
And that's another thing too that this whole YouTube gaming thing does is it helps the creators of games as well. That game, I think Rocket League, its entire success is built on the thousands and thousands of videos of it on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
I agree completely. And that's the thing about YouTube gaming. It's a huge marketplace. Look at Subnautica. It went from being basically completely unknown to being one of the foremost underwater survival games out there.
Yeah,
Just because one YouTuber made I think he's up to maybe 17 videos,
Mhm.
and they watched his videos, said, "Oh crap, there's a bunch of bugs there." Fixed those bugs, and then used his videos to market it, and now it's a huge game.
yeah. Jack extremely helped out that game, and now it's up there and is really, really popular now. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Dino, Mike, and Sly. Be sure to check us out next time. Leave your comments in the descriptions below to let us know what you thought about this podcast. We will make sure to get back to everything, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.